I am Slick Nick, your personal certified Enneagram coach. You're watching this video because you want to learn more about being a 7. See, being a 7, I think it's easy to be misdiagnosed. When I first started getting heavy into Enneagram, I actually was pretty frustrated because several of the Enneagram types sounded relatable. Definitely for me, the achiever, number 3. Yeah, that there's a lot in that for me that adds up. I want to achieve things, but I don't fear failure, so I couldn't quite be a 3. And I avoid conflict, absolutely I do. So I saw the 9 in me, but ultimately I don't fear conflict. I'm willing to get engaged in that. But ultimately, I didn't want to waste time with conflict or debate. And eventually I got around to realizing I'm 7. But when you read about 7, often what do you hear? Well, Enneagram 7 is someone who they want to avoid being bored or in pain. They don't want to suffer, and that's what drives them. Well, that just didn't ring true to me. That didn't sound like me. But a lot of this Enneagram stuff, it's subconscious. We have to really study to understand what's actually driving us. So another stereotype about Enneagram 7s is that they're very scattered and they're so busy making plans and then they don't follow through with them. That's another thing. Well, that's not been the case for me, and it never has been. I'm a very loyal person. I'm a very committed person, and I'm all about following things through. That's a huge part of my identity. Well, now I understand that's my 8 wing. Maybe if I had a 6 wing, I would be some of those other stereotypes. But with the 8 wing, it kind of helps with the follow through of that. And instead of my anxiety being, oh no, what's going to happen? The sky is falling, which I would say by default, maybe an Enneagram 7-6, that's their anxiety, because all 7s are driven by anxiety. That's one of the giveaways. But because I have an 8 wing, I have that challenger in me, that my anger is actually, for me, it's driven and triggered by me feeling like my time's being wasted. If I ever feel like my time's being wasted, there's this anger inside of me that drives me to do something about it. So that's what that is. So yeah, each Enneagram can look different. You can be an introvert or an extrovert of your number, which is a bit ironic for a 7 because we're the ultimate extrovert of the whole group, but yet you can be an introverted 7. My sister, for example, she's Enneagram 5, the ultimate introvert of the group, but she's an extroverted version of that. And then we've got wings, so it can get confusing. But I think if you're an Enneagram 7 and don't realize it yet, I can understand where you're coming from. It took me a while to come to terms with what I'm, and a lot of people I've talked to, they struggled, like after I, as a certified Enneagram coach, I took out my book here, which you can buy in the link right there. I love this book. You can buy it off of Amazon. But sometimes you can hear who you really are from an outsider and it doesn't sound like you. Or maybe the way it's described is these generalities. But for me, it was a matter of understanding that an Enneagram 7 is not simply who avoids pain and punishment. A lot of the times, the real way to know you're an Enneagram 7 is you don't want your time to be wasted. Therefore, you're constantly staying busy. But unlike a 3 who is trying to avoid failure and always trying to win, a 7's not so much worried about winning. They're not even so much worried about being right. They just don't want their time to be wasted. They want to make the most of life. And I think, speaking personally, I've struggled my life to understand why are they not always focused on self-improvement? Like for me, I'm always reading books and watching videos, learning how can I be a better person. Why? Because I want to make the most of my life. I don't want to waste time being wrong. I don't want to waste time debating with people. But as I learn how I'm wrong, good. I can become a better person. That's less time being wasted. I'll be more efficient. And that's the very pragmatic side of 7s. That's that growth personality of the 5 that we have, because we are actually surprisingly very analytical. We want to see the big picture because it makes us more efficient. We're surprisingly pragmatic. We love finding ways to make things work easier. Your comments belong right here.